It's time for the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games at Southern Utah University in Cedar City. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of a Utah sports tradition at utahsummergames.org. Participate in over 50 sports around the state. Then plan to join the opening ceremonies Friday, June 5th, presented by State Bank of Southern Utah. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games. Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. The KSL Give-a-thon is underway, benefiting Primary Children's Hospital. PK.
What?
They've got stats for me. How awesome is that?
You go, boy.
2025 stats for Salt Lake and the Lehigh campuses combined. Patients benefited from $7.5 million in financial assistance provided by Philanthropy Dollars. That's what we're doing here today, raising dollars to help folks get the medical care they need. Intermountain has 24/7 access to 240 languages for interpretation, 40 languages in person, and their emergency room saw almost 60,000 patients. 59,865. We'll just go with almost 60,000, PK. So a lot of people need your help. 60,000 people raising $7.5 million. We're not going to do all of that today, obviously, but whatever you can do would be appreciated. You can donate online. We're going to have some phone numbers for you. You're going to have some guests throughout the day here on the KSL Sports Zone. Primary Children's has been around since 1922. So anything you can do in the next year over the course of today will be much appreciated. How to donate? You can give online at kslkids.com. kslkids.com. You can also call 801-KSL-KIDS. 801-KSL-KIDS. That's 801-575-5437. And you know all about healthcare crises, PK. Your family has seen it. Fortunately, you had insurance to cover everything, but my family's seen it too. It's pretty hard to go through very long in life without running into something like this with someone in your family.
Oh, yeah, obviously. It doesn't matter what it is, who it is. I mean, health is the number one thing you need to live. It's as basic as that, right? People, you talk about what are you grateful for. I always say I'm grateful for the walk. I couldn't imagine not being able to walk. It's as simple as that, and it is a basic necessity that just brings so much to life, and there's many people who can, and there's so many other things that slow people down and obviously take people's lives. And my wife, very grateful at the time, it was 13 years ago now, had lymphoma, and it was very dangerous and all that stuff, and it was touch and go, and unfortunately, it was more go, and she got past it and did the 5-year checkup and everything. And all you do is you just go, oh, my gosh, how fortunate are we? Awful to have to go through it, but we got to the other side of it, and there's plenty of people who don't, so you need these types of things. And this is what it's about, man. It's about living your life and saving lives and helping people, and, you know, we need more of that than ever, you can argue.
KSLkids.com if you'd like to donate and help the 60,000 people who go through the emergency room in the Salt Lake and Lehigh campuses of Primary Children's Hospital, Intermountain Health. Love your help. KSLkids.com. Donate online or call 801-KSL-KIDS. 801-KSL-KIDS. 801-575-5437.
Yeah, and then this is for the children, too.
Yep.
I had a cousin who died of leukemia at 10. And my aunt and uncle, they literally never recovered.
I believe that. I don't know how you do.
And they had substance issues. My father's brother.
Self-medicating because of the pain of the trauma.
Oh, yeah.
It's a common story. It's a tragic story. It's a horrific story. And there's just a certain roll of the dice.
Yeah, she was my peer.
Yeah.
And so I was of the same age, and I remember vividly and how difficult it was.
Yeah. And you can go online and donate and help. That'd be great. KSLkids.com. All right, DJ and PK, multiple stories this morning. We're going to talk NBA Finals with Andy Bailey coming up in our next segment. Right now, though, PK, the other big story, had a lot of people testifying on Capitol Hill. about the need for some type of federal regulation. And one of the people testifying was Utah defensive end Lance Holtzclaw. Another was former Alabama football coach turned broadcaster Nick Saban. And Yak, let him hear what Nick Saban had to say, at least a snippet of it.
Right now in college football, we have no rules. We have state laws. We have different in every state. We have litigation. The NCAA cannot enforce their own rules because every time they try to enforce the rule, there's a lawsuit. I mean, an example would be Ole Miss's quarterback. They say he can't play next year. He's playing next year because of litigation. So, but this is just the way it is. It's become an arm race. Who spends the most has got the best chance to win. But I think it's a race to the bottom because if you don't spend to win, you lose your fan base and you don't have any revenue.
So what are they going to do? And PK, you think they're going to do something, but it's just going to move the bag back at first base?
Well, I'm not sure that the balance of power is going to change. I think what you want is at least a perception of fairness. And right now, it looks like it could be dangerous where there's been decent programs that could get smothered because they can't compete, because there is this arms race. But at the same time, there's always been an arms race. And then you have some folks that are, well, now you want to limit these players' earnings and so forth. I don't think that that's necessarily it. I don't think that anyone's looking. If someone wants to pay some kid, some quarterback, some whomever, $5 million, so be it. But can we have some type of rules and regulations? So you're dealing with sports, and then fairness comes in. And can you set something up that allows it to be a little more equitable? And we view sports as, well, if you do the right things, you have a chance. Well, in colleges, though, there's always been tiers. I don't think there'll never not be tiers. And the Ohio States of the world, using them as the example, Notre Dame, you put them on there, they're always going to have the advantages no matter what you do, unless you just make it communism completely, I guess, but nobody really wants that. And I don't think most of us are telling the powers that be, let's stop paying these kids, because they were ripped off for many years. I used the example that, Van Horn would get no money for kids wearing Van Horn jerseys, or they would have 44 but wouldn't have his name on it. But they bought the thing 44 for their kid because he did love Keith. Yeah. She loved Keith Van Horn and wanted to wear that jersey. And, I use Van Horn because I got to know him so well. And I literally was at multiple apartments inside the apartments of where he lived, and how he tried to, and he had a kid at the time, and he was married, and, he was making the university big money, and it wasn't being reciprocated. And then when he signed the contract, and then he bought a house. He bought a house right up the street from me, actually. And so I got to know, I knew him very well. And I said, man, I can remember being at the multiple apartments where he had versus this house. And he says, yeah, things have changed for me.
Understatement.
Right. And that Huntsman Center, which is empty now comparatively, was packed then. And why was it packed?
Keith. And why is it not packed now? Because they don't have a Keith.
Yeah.
If they get a player up there who's going to be the number 2 pick in the draft, and he's there 4 years, and that won't happen because everything's changed.
Right.
But that would fix it. If Alex Jensen could wave a magic wand and create a Keith Van Horn and an Andre Miller.
But both those guys did come back for their 4th year and showed loyalty to the university when they could have gone. Yeah. And I realize it's different now, but those kids deserve some level of compensation, as did Jimmer. Jimmer's family, his parents and all, they had some financial hardships. And Jimmer, my goodness gracious, you couldn't have paid him enough. It's like the Jordan of the NBA. No matter what you pay Jordan, he's underpaid. Well, the same thing with Jimmer. So I don't think people are saying, let's do away with that. But can we come up with a more sensible way that it's just simply, I go to the Sun Devils. Sam Levitt, he's a hired hand. Okay, I don't begrudge Sam Levitt for going to LSU because he's going to get more money. Well, he had a great thing going in Tempe, and now it's gone. And he'll just be basically a carpetbag dude who was on his way through, and he had a great run, no doubt about it, but he took the most money. Can there be something that can prevent that?
See, that's the thing. Yes, I think there can be. Will it get passed? I kind of doubt it, but it could be. It could be. And the thing is, you like some level of fairness. Ohio State only thinks it's going to be fair, and LSU only thinks it's going to be fair if they can buy Sam Levitt away. And Arizona State's only going to think it's fair if they keep Sam Levitt, right? And to your point, there have always been tiers. At no point in its history has San Diego State ever been on the same tier as Ohio State.
I don't think the Devils have either.
And they're not going to be, right?
Don't expect it.
But
I'm fine with it.
It's America. So if we work really hard, we should be able to raise ourselves up. And one day, San Diego State went into Columbus and coulda, woulda, shoulda, but didn't. And to have these tiers drawn to say you're in and you're out, that irritates people because there are a lot of schools that have changed their place in college football over time. And I think part of the rules might be, and we'll see, I don't know what the rules are going to be. Part of the rules might prevent that. Allow a Super League
have
or
schools
encourage
really
it.
changed their place?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
You don't think? I think Utah's changed its place in it.
Yeah,
I think
but
if you take a bigger
it's
time,
gotten better, but it hasn't. It's changed its place. I agree with you, but it's never going to be at the top.
I agree. But people want to go from, hey, we were in the bottom of the WAC to we were at the top of the Pac-12. Now at the top of the Pac-12, they still couldn't beat Ohio State and Penn State in the Rose Bowl. There was still clearly a tier to go.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
I agree, but they want the right to test themselves even if they fail sometimes.
They'll get that. But you're never going to, and you might even do it, but you're not going to do it consistently.
That I agree with both of those things, but I think there is a worry that if the Feds start drawing lines, what's this going to look like? Is there a 30 or 40 team breakaway where you never get to play them?
Yeah, that's where it's going.
You're on the outside. Okay, well that irritates people because before there was a chance.
It should.
There was a chance to improve yourself, and like BYU can't get to and sustain the level of fill in the blank. They can't do what Alabama did with Saban, right? But one day when Miami was at the top, BYU took them down, and it was glorious.
And Appalachian State beat Michigan in the Big House. That's going to happen, though.
But if that stuff gets legislated away.
It won't be legislated away. It'll still happen to it, but it's going to be in small doses. That's why you remember it, because it is in small doses.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Ohio State and Michigan are going to remain Ohio State and Michigan largely, and they'll have times they won't be able to sustain it, just like, Texas in a certain part of the country is, Texas, and we have Barry Trammell on. He's like, Texas is only, Texas like once every decade. 8 or 9 years.
Oh, that's bad management.
It is. And they're scuffling around. But Texas Tech wants the chance to play Texas and beat them, and you only get to beat them when it's bad management. There are people very close to the University of Utah.
But that's always been that way.
Who love the fact that Utah got to beat USC, but who also acknowledge they only did it because USC had bad management. If USC gets good management, when they get the Pete Carrolls and the John Robinsons and the John McKays,
now they're ready to compete. They just needed 4 years to get to this point.
Yeah, but they don't even get to play Lincoln Riley now because stuff changes. And they'd love to play Lincoln Riley every year and beat him every year. It's glorious when it happened, just like it was glorious when BYU beat Miami.
But there's always going to be those tiers. Utah took it to the max.
Mm-hmm.
And good for them.
To their max.
Yes, to their max. And it was great. I was there for every one of those games.
Now, there are hardcore Ute fans who are
awesome.
like, hey, there was a time we never thought we were capable of doing that.
Absolutely.
So even now we think, well, they're not capable of doing that, but maybe they are.
No, they're not.
Because they didn't ever think they'd be in a Rose Bowl.
No,
they didn't ever think
they
they'd
took it to the max.
They didn't think they'd beat USC and Oregon.
That was awesome.
Twice in the same year, back to back.
Great. And when Oregon had bad management, and they took advantage of it. Good. And Utah has a great program. I respect it immensely. Absolutely. They've got everything they need to have a quality program, but they're never going to be Alabama. They're never going to be, and I realize they beat Alabama, and they're never going to be Ohio State. And this is the way it is.
See, to what Nick Saban said is if you don't have the money to invest and then you can't win and then the people stop coming, isn't there a little bit of worry that if something doesn't happen, that could happen to Utah?
What do you mean?
Because, the fans are now used to winning the 10, 11-win seasons.
No, I think they'll be okay there.
If the money changes to the point where you got to work really hard and be really smart to win 8 games or 9 games, is that they're going to get criticized for that. And I bring that up because it's happened at other schools, right? Solich couldn't match what Osborne did, But Solich did a lot more than anybody else has done the last 25 years.
And they made a bad decision.
But he got run.
Yeah.
So if that happens,
but they tasted the ultimate fruit.
Yes, back-to-back national titles, long win streaks.
And so their expectations are through the roof. And in some ways, the world has changed, and they can't keep up to that level. They've slipped. There's no question about that they've slipped. I saw Utah just run them up and down the field in Vegas. It was awesome.
It was.
Utah's program is way better than Nebraska's. I'm only talking – when I say Utah can't get there, using them as the example, I'm talking about 5, maybe 6 or 7. But then they're right there. And that's a great place to be.
5, 6, 7 programs,
yeah,
you're saying. Right.
Yeah. So I am not disrespecting the U of U at all.
Ohio State, Michigan, Notre Dame. Maybe.
And then there may be a little variance there.
Penn State sometimes, but not others.
Well, they had to overcome just a horrific situation, and we'll see what they've got going forward. They may have panicked by getting rid of Franklin less than a year after he's in the playoff. That may be a horrendous move. That may be a bad decision. I mean, Franklin he won a lot of ball games, man. My gosh. So he didn't win the ultimate. Well, let's get rid of him. Oh, brother. And they lost a couple of games this year. And maybe, circumstances. I wasn't close to the program this past season, obviously. But Utah and BYU, they're in great spots. They feel competitive programs. The places are full. They're in a great market where we give virtual year-round attention to their programs. I don't think they could ask for anything more. As a Sun Devil fan, if you told me that I could have the run that Utah's had since they got their bearings in the Pac-12, I'm totally fine with it. Maybe I have a little perspective. I'm not a win-at-all-cost guy. I'm not either you win the national title or it's a bitter disappointment. I don't go there. Because I view it as entertainment. And Utah has put on an entertaining product for many, many years, and I believe they'll put on an entertaining product this year. They'll have a good team. The fans they'll have good times. They go with their families to tailgate and all that. So I look at it I look at Saturdays from like 6 a.m. to midnight. And did I have a great Saturday? I'm not necessarily dependent upon some score by some 20-year-olds to determine whether I had a good Saturday or not.
I just can't kick it off at 6 a.m. 9:30, I'm right there. 9:30. I'll do the last half hour with the picks on the pregame show, and then I'm into the game.
But the reason why I say that is because I know people who get up 100%. To the campus to secure their places, and they rotate. It's your week to get your butt up there early and set up. That's why I don't do that, but people. I've seen it.
You're right. Those people are absolutely there.
I mean, Saturday's a work day for me,
right?
And it will be, and thankfully it's a work day because I love doing it.
If you get a 10 a.m. or a 1:30 kickoff, then it's really on early in the morning. But you're right. There are people up there even if they're kicking off in the third or fourth TV window.
I mean, I already got, which is September 12th, I believe it is. I've already got my day planned.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to be at LaVell Edwards Stadium, and it's going to be the Arizona Wildcats coming in to play the BYU Cougars. I'm fired up for that game.
It's a good Saturday.
I want to be there.
Yeah. You know it's a good Saturday.
Yes.
And it's September, and we're in June.
Right, and I think it starts 1:30 our time.
It does.
So I'll probably get home around 7 or 8 o'clock. By the time I get done, drive back, blah, blah, blah. And what am I going to do? I'm going to turn on Utah, Arkansas.
8:30 kick.
Yeah.
Right. That's actually really good that it's a second and fourth TV window because you need the third TV window to do the post-game stuff you got to do, the interviews, the hopping on a post-game show on the phone.
KSL Sports.
You write something up. You got to drive back.
Yeah.
They scheduled that very well for you.
And then I'll plop my butt down, and I'll be watching the Ute game. Yeah.
DJ PK, well, the thing is, whatever rules they draw up, is it going to enable schools to move up? The way ASU changed their trajectory of their program from the 60s to the 80s.
I would like to think so.
It's kind of been static since then, as you have documented, ups and downs here and there, but it's kind of static.
Yeah.
But they really, just like Utah from...
Since it was static when John Cooper left Tempe to go where?
Ohio State.
I rest my case.
There it is. All right, DJ and PK. When we come back, Andy Bailey joins us, NBA analyst and writer for Bleacher Report, his take on Game 1 of the NBA Finals and where we go from here. Stay with us.